Hello, traders. This is Blake Morrow with Traders Summit. And with me today on the Tales of the Trading Desk episode, Christmas episode, or holiday episode, let me put it that way. We have Stelios Kontogoulas, and then we also have Mr. Dick Mathews from GC Partners. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hi, good to be here.
You guys are all looking so festive. It's nice to see you. And, the reason why we wanted to make this episode obviously is for the holidays, but more importantly, we really wanted to talk about how, the brokerage industry, at least back in the day, used to celebrate, and I'm sure they still do. I mean, Christmas parties are Christmas parties, or holiday parties are holiday parties, but I'm sure they were even wilder back in the day. So I want to hear from, Dick, let's start off with you since this is your idea. Tell us a little bit about your holiday parties that you had back in the day.
Right. Well, going right the way back, I can remember our first Christmas party. It was funny enough, right in the middle of a bear market, and no one was making any money. And we had a choice between a bottle of gin and a bottle of port, and that was it. No parties, no nothing like that. And then the following year, it was a bit better. It was a bottle of gin, bottle of port, or Christmas turkey. So and this was like a Christmas tradition that everyone would get a Christmas turkey or a drink from the directors. And the city of London would have turkeys scattered all over the place.
I was going to say, so like I'm assuming this is an uncooked turkey that you take home, right? So that would be like the last thing I'd want is like to haul a turkey around in whatever vehicle I was driving. I mean, do people really do that?
Yeah. They'd sitting on the tube with them, or on buses, and they'd be left in pubs, and it's just like really funny.
I could totally see somebody at a pub like with a big turkey sitting next to them as they're drinking a few pints, and then they're like, and then they stumble out of and they just leave the turkey there. That'd be fun.
Or propose to it.
All right, so sorry, continue on. That's hilarious though.
And that was sort of like, it's just a tradition that everyone got a turkey, from the junior right the way up, all the secretaries, the messengers, everyone would be given a turkey, which is, times were very different then, and it was appreciated. Times moved on. As a money broker, we had some wild parties. I remember we had one in the Runnymede Hotel out near Windsor. And a friend of mine who I'm still friendly with, Tremaine Knoll, who you may have seen on TV. He's famous for the guy on TV puts his hand in his pocket and starts waving money around, saying bags of money, loads of money. And he's often shown in a clip, but he got very drunk at this party, and him and a couple of mates decided to take a mini up onto the first floor, and they carried a car into the hotel lobby and up onto the first floor, up to this huge, great big hallway, which caused consternation to the wedding party that was going on next door. They just carried on. I mean, to me, the best were the 2 or 3 funny stories. Embarrassing stories, when I was quite young, I wanted to have a few days off work, and I'd had all my holiday, and I said, oh God, what should I do? I know what I'll do. I say I'm having my wisdom teeth out. And so it was like the week before the Christmas holiday, the Christmas party. So I went to the Christmas party. I thought, what do I do? So I had to stuff my mouth with cotton wool, and this was a great idea of mine. So I walked into the party looking, I sound like Marlon Brando, my cheeks out here.
So let me ask you, Dick, is there anybody that would actually remember you with the Marlon Brando cheeks?
Maybe still a couple of guys around. Gary Bone, who had the idea with me, sadly no longer with us, but there's certainly, this is the days of R.P. Martin. The party was at, I think, the London Zoo. For some unknown reason, don't ask me why, we'd hired the zoo out and monkeys were wandering around and all sorts. But I don't know about that. But we'll find out, I guess.
I'm just wondering if somebody's going to actually recognize you from that would be fun. I think that's hilarious. So what other? Tell us a little bit more about those wild and crazy parties that you had.
I think. They just carried on. We'd go to really odd places. We went to London Zoo one year, Hurlingham Club, which is a really nice club in London, really exclusive club. God knows how we were allowed into that. And then as we built up our own businesses, my partner, myself, Paul, or better known as Banker, we decided, okay, let's have some really good parties. The first party we had as a small business was like a dozen people. in I can't even remember where it was, the Dover Street Wine Bar or somewhere like that, or Smith and Walensky's in London. And then we had one at the Belfry, which is a very well-known
golf course.
Yeah, the golf course.
Oh, wow.
We hired the Belfry for the weekend.
Nice.
For the weekend. Wow.
For the weekend. And they had a nightclub there called the Bel Air, which I think one of my colleagues walked in and said, how many bottles of champagne have you got? And they said, oh, loads. He said, I'll have a lot of them. We brought all the champagne out. And, it was just an absolute disaster. We were told we were not welcome there again.
Oh, my God.
The following year, we hired the Grand Hotel in Brighton, which is a very posh hotel, which actually is famous really for when Maggie Thatcher, they attempted to blow Maggie Thatcher up by the IRA. But I can tell you that the damage the IRA did, I don't know if you've got a picture of the building after the bomb had gone off. We did more damage to that hotel than the IRA ever did. And you literally, anyone who was at Refco, or actually anyone on the futures market, knew about this party at the Grand. And it was just the absolute, to use a word that Dave Stoller would say, absolute carnage from the moment it started to the moment it ended. And it was just great fun. And, just memories are made of that. And I loved that. I didn't really enjoy the party so much because, in a way I was footing the bill and I was like watching out for a bed flying out the window or worrying about a secretary doing things that she shouldn't. But yeah, they're really good fun. What was Barclays like? Were they a little bit tamer?
Yeah, things. I was going to say my experience was a lot quite different. It was very tame. It was more like a group, team dinners and team events. Yes, there was lots of drink as always, and people got in a pretty bad state. But it wasn't this huge thing with 100 people at Stringfellows or whatever. It was much more controlled. I do have one funny story from Merrill when there was actually I did go to a big Christmas party that I think it was 2007. It was before.
We lost him a little bit there.
And there was actually something like 100 people. Sorry. Oh, did I? Okay.
Your internet was stuttering just a little bit, so that you were saying you're Merrill 2000, 2007, 2008.
Yes, before the crisis, and there was a big party, something like 100 people, and there was quite a few volatile characters on the floor, and one of them, who was a salesperson, drank a bit too much and stripped naked. There was a dance floor, stripped naked, and started making chicken noises like that. and the unfortunate thing was that he was doing that right next to the big boss's wife. And,
wait. So when you say naked, do you mean like the full-on birthday suit, or at least in skivvies? I mean,
completely, yeah.
And Carry on.
The good thing for him was that he was a really, really good salesman, so he kept his job and everything. But it was a story that was told for some time after that.
Well, hopefully the weather wasn't too cold for the poor guy, right?
It was inside, right? But yeah.
That's holiday parties, I think, are always pretty wild. And it can be in like almost every industry that you're at, but I whether you're talking about the medical industry or whatever, but I think financial services, specifically brokers and financial groups tend to top them all. Wouldn't you guys say?
I think so. I think that's fair. Stelios?
Oh yeah, especially pre-crisis. I think it was a different world to everything else.
Yeah. And, this is one of those situations where, people like myself that have been traders, mostly independent traders, or in smaller venues, outside of Wall Street or outside of city centers like London, have had much, less of an experience. Although, I have been into some pretty big parties, but, I can't, I try to think back of like any crazy shenanigans, and it's nothing I would definitely remember some naked guy flying around doing the chicken dance on a dance floor for sure, or a big Marlon Brando faced looking boss man, that rented out an entire golf club. So speaking of that golf club, Dick, did like, I mean, that must have been a pretty penny.
It was a pretty penny, to say the least. And being the boss organising it, I've got one funny tale which I'll close the cast with. But the worst thing was as the boss, and we always thought, right, we're all off duty now. We're just going to have fun, There's no boss, there's no this or no that. And the first thing I would do, I'd just pick up a pint of beer and I would just tip it over me and soak myself, because I know that throughout the evening, people are going to be throwing food at me. They're going to be throwing wine at me because they can. So let's get it going and do it properly, and so no one can worry about it. But my partner, who's always absolutely immaculate, wouldn't do that. He'd get really upset by it. And I just thought, hey, listen, have fun. Chuck a cream pie at me. You deserve it. You put up with a load of rubbish from me all year. So you guys have some fun. So that was my attitude. Just give everyone a good time. Make yourself have fun, and just don't worry about the consequences.
I like that. That's the essence, right? I like it.
Yeah.
That is cool. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Stelios, I want to go to Dick's parties. I do. I want to go, Richard. I want to go to any. If you're hosting next year, I'm gladly going to be flying to the UK out of here, even though it's 70 degrees here and sunny. I'm going to go wherever you're at. So,
man, Christmas and New Year's in the UK, London especially, is magical. Absolutely magical.
I bet it is.
We of course would tend to have these parties in the summer because it was cheaper to hire a place than it would be in Christmas. So golf club in the winter is no fun, and the hotel in Brighton is no fun in the winter. So we would actually say, okay, guys, we'll have a really good party. We won't have it at Christmas. We'll have it in March or April or something like that. It was actually to save money as much as anything.
Well, so how many years did you do that?
We did that for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So now some of the people that have worked for you might undoubtedly be watching this here and saying,
oh, they will. Absolutely. They will.
Hey, wait a second. That was to save money? I thought it was just for the weather.
I will of course deny that. I say it wasn't me. It was the accountant who did it, who no doubt got a nice backhander from the hotel that organised it.
So let me ask you this, Dick. So as the boss for many years, owning the firm and and the brokerage, what were like the best Christmas gifts that you've ever given an employee or another partner at a firm?
I would only ever give employees cash unless they were, personal friends, and they weren't really personal friends. I'd give my partner a present, which was probably a tie or a magnum of champagne or something, nothing special. It would just be bonuses. It would just literally be cash, because in the end, that's what drove people.
Right. So you never.
I try and get away with giving them promotion because that was really cheap, but they would say, no, you gave me a promotion because that saves you money.
So you never actually handed over the keys to the Dino to one of your top salespeople. No.
I'd let them drive if they were sober at the parties or whatever, but I wouldn't let them keep it.
How about you, Stelios? Do you remember any like really lavish gifts, or was it mostly just cash bonuses, or for in your experience?
Well, I don't remember any gifts at all. It was just bonuses. So it's that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, that
as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess bonuses and a lot of unlimited alcohol, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And Christmas was especially for US based banks. This was the time when bonuses were announced, and it was a nervous time every year, especially from 2008 onwards. When it was before that, you kind of had an idea. I did well. I met my budget, or I beat it. I'm gonna get X% or X amount. But after the crisis, you never knew. And as I've said before, my best years were 08, 09, and 10. And those were the days when Merrill almost went under, and we got bought by Bank of America, and the next couple of years were pretty bad. So I did really, really well, and it was nervous times. I did okay in the end, bonus wise, but it could have been a lot better.
So let me ask you guys this, because, we keep referring to the holiday parties as Christmas parties. Because, I mean, when at what point did it become more politically correct to say holiday party? Because, you got to include people that are celebrating other holidays around the Christmas holiday. Is it around your time, Dick, where you guys are like, no, it's not a Christmas party, it's a holiday party,
this is a much more recent, it's a much more recent thing, right? Yeah, it's last 5-10 years, right? And that's after my time.
Yeah. Okay. I always remember them as Christmas parties, but now I'm sure they're more known as holiday parties, just to include everybody that's not necessarily of Christian faith, I'm assuming. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting, how times have changed, and a lot of it for the good in that example, but maybe a lot quieter, and you probably have more compliance people with actually wearing a compliance badge running around the parties a little bit more, right?
Yeah. I will say that the compliance person never got his bonus till after the party to make sure that he was compliant.
That's hilarious. I wonder, what do they call the people that would be walking around looking for? Oh, I guess I should ask this, and excuse the ladies that might be listening in right now, but did you ever walk in any backroom shenanigans happening?
Oh yeah.
No comment, Your Honor.
I've got to imagine, especially with some of the, single, maybe not even single people after a little bit of drinking, little shenanigans going on. Dick, if you ever want to name drop and,
it's a well-known fact that my partner, Paul Hunt at the Refco, he married one of the runners. The first Christmas party that she was at, we walked into, it was Barbarella's, which is a discotheque near Chelsea Football Club. I don't know if you ever went there, Stelios.
Yes.
And we walked in, and someone turned to me and Bunker and said, she's going to sit next to one of you two, and she's going to marry one of you two. And she didn't sit next to me. She went and sat next to my partner. And of course, the true love was started. And it's got to be 30 years later, they're still married. So,
wow.
Hey, there were good things came out of it.
That's actually pretty amazing. I wonder how many of those relationships were sparked from under a mistletoe.
I think they're normally sparked under a bottle of wine, actually.
It wasn't mistletoe magic. Is that what are you, next thing you're going to tell me is Santa Claus does not exist and I'm out of here. I'm going to leave.
Hey, I'm not going to say that. But before we finish, I'm just going to tell you one classic story, and it actually didn't happen to me, but it happened on the trading floor. And when you'd be looking around into October, November to book a place for your holiday, so you'd get a junior to get on the phone, say, phone up these 3 or 4 restaurants, tell them we want a table for 30 people, see what the cost is, what dates they can do, and what the menu they've got is. And then this kid who was known as Deutschmark Darren, because he traded the Deutschmarks, people got a nickname, and he gets on the phone and he starts phoning up. And he gets hold of this restaurant and he goes, yeah. And they say, yes, we can do the table for 30. We can do it on the Tuesday. And it starts at blah, blah. So that's great. So, and what's on the menu? And they say, well, you've got 2 menus. We've got the turkey on one with Brussels sprouts and all the trimmings. And on the other one, we've got venison. And he goes to them, hey, guys, what's venison? And the owner goes, that's deer. He said, oh, that's okay. The boss is paying.
Deer as inexpensive. Nice. Nice.
That is hilarious. Well, I'm that's so funny. And how come I'm just now hearing Deutschmark Denny now?
Deutschmark Darren.
Why am I hearing this for the first time? We've had all of these different shows with all of these different nicknames, and I'm just hearing about this now. Hey, I'm sure that this episode has sparked a lot of great memories for a lot of traders that have been on desks and been on floors over the course of, the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, maybe even longer. I want to thank you guys for spending your time here with us. And I want to say, Dick, I saw a preview of your potentially new weekly update as you're swimming the channel, and you're giving us a little update about the FX market. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because just so everybody here knows, especially if you're listening in, you know, Dick does come to the Traders Summit site, puts on some of his content, and he's obviously been in the FX space and commodities space for, you know, many years. A lot of knowledge that you bestow on the traders every single week. Tell us a little bit about this this thing that you want to do.
Okay, well, every day I go swimming in the sea, in the English Channel. I was down there this morning, 8 degrees centigrade in the sea, not for very long. And I thought, well, lots of guys give an update and they're really good, but you know, let's try and do something different. So I thought I'd do one from the beach every Monday morning, just, you know, a review of what I think the market's going to happen, and a quick view of the weather and the conditions of it. And I'm abiding by the UK government working at home sort of idea. So I'll be working from the beach. And as I was saying to Stelios, you know, you've got buy side and you've got sell side, and I'm going to be the C side.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Dick, we look forward to seeing those. And if you guys don't know how to follow Dick Mathews, you can, you know, select his profile beneath this particular post on the Traders Summit site. You can get directly to Dick and see what he's doing. And I want to say thank you, gentlemen, for being here. And remember, if you guys are listening in at home, make sure you give this YouTube video a thumbs up. You're giving a thumbs up to Stelios for joining us from the Traders Summit team. Also to Dick Mathews, make sure you subscribe to our channel. It's free to subscribe to these so you don't miss any of these Tales from the Trading Desk episodes. And we have more in store for you going into next year. So make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Dick, Stelios, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and your families. I hope you have a safe one. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Have a great holiday.
It's always a pleasure, Dick. And thank you, Blake. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.